Okay, so what you see now is that everything has been set up. We have 4 players, 1, 2, 3, and 4. All of them have their character cards face down. This is how the game starts. Nobody knows whom is using what character at this point in time. And to begin the game, you deal each player 4 playing cards. This is the same as SanGuoSha, just deal 4 playing cards. Who's gonna start first? It is really up to you. The official rules say pick the youngest person, the youngest player to go first. I don't think that's applicable all the time. It's up to you. So it really doesn't matter. Decide who you want to go first. Okay, so for this particular instance, I'm gonna assume that this character here is gonna go first. Yes, okay. Now here's one thing that's very important. Before anybody draws any cards, let's say it's his turn right here, his turn to start. There is one thing he can do before he draws the cards, which is he can decide if he wants to flip a character card over. At this point in time, none of his character cards are exposed. So therefore, he has no gender, and he has no kingdom. Nobody know who he's from, doesn't know whether he's friend or foe. So he can choose to flip one character card over. Why would he do that? Because if he doesn't flip his character card over, he has no abilities. So it's only when his character card is flipped over would he have the ability of that player that is flipped over right here. Also, by flipping over a character, you are telling the other players, hey, I am from Suguo, as this one shows right here, he's from Suguo. One of the other players here might be from Suguo and they are thinking, okay, this guy is my teammate, I shouldn't kill him. So that's one good reason, okay? So in this example here, I'm going to flip over Meng Huo before I draw any cards. Okay, this is the only 1 out of 2 times where you can flip the character card over Meng Huo. Yeah? So I'm going to flip him over and then I'm going to draw 2 cards. And at this point in time, the game is exactly the same as SanGuoSha. Okay, you can go around and attack or whatever, use whatever cards you want to use. Yeah. So I'm gonna fast forward a bit, and we're gonna assume that now it's back to this player's turn. Okay. Okay. So let's assume now that all the other players have went 1 round. They have all decided not to open up the characters. Okay, and it's back to this character's turn right here, and it's the beginning of his turn. Before he decides to draw any cards, he can again decide to flip over his card. At this point, he says, "Okay, I'm going to flip over my second card." Okay, a few things would happen right now. Firstly, when he flips over his second card, you must take note that this character Zhu Rong is a synergistic character partner of Meng Huo, and I've mentioned just now that there are some bonuses if you pick the synergistic character. The bonus is at the point in time where the second character card is flipped over and they are synergistic partners, you can choose between one of 2 options. The first option is you can draw 2 additional cards immediately. This is even before he draws his cards for his turn. So anytime you flip over the second synergistic character card, you can choose to draw 2 cards immediately, or you can choose to recover 1 unit of health. At this point in time, they did not lose any units of health, so no point regaining units of health here, rather take 2 cards. So take 2 cards immediately, then draw 2 cards for the beginning of his turn. Okay, got it? Yeah. Let's assume that he doesn't want to open up his flip over his second card at the beginning of his turn. Instead, he wants to flip over his second card halfway through his turn. So because let's say this particular character is using Zhurong's ability, let's say he has used attack on another player, he has caused damage, and he wants to use Zhurong's ability right now to do the points to a Pingdian. Okay, to use this character's ability, you can choose to flip over that card. So at the point where you flip it over, you can draw 2 cards. Okay, so very quick recap. When can you flip over the character cards? There are only 2 times you can flip over the character card. The first time is when it's the beginning of your turn. You can flip it over. The second one is when you need to use that character's ability, you flip it over. And only when you need to use it, can you flip it over. Okay? The using of the character's ability can happen outside of your turn. So it can be a reactionary ability. So for example, if you're using Guo Jia and somebody attacks you, and you want to use Guo Jia's ability to draw 2 cards, you can choose to flip over Guo Jia at that point in time. Okay, got it? Okay, so let's move on. Now Meng Huo and Zhu Rong has opened up both characters. The gender now would be female, because now Zhu Rong is the main character. Zhu Rong has always been the main character. Now that they are both exposed, Zhu Rong is the main character, therefore gender is female. Okay? Now, fast forward. Let's move on to the next player. Let's say this player has ended his turn. Let's move on to the next player. And this player decides to flip over his character card at the beginning of his turn and realizes, hey, this character picked Pang Tong. Okay, a few important things to note right now. Firstly, Pang Tong is from Suguo, which is the same as Meng Huo and Zhu Rong. This means to say that these two players are in the same team. They are from the same kingdom. Okay, now it is this player's turn. This player is going to flip over his first character card. Oh, he's from Junxiong, Neutral Heroes. So this guy definitely is on his own because nobody else here is Junxiong. He's on his own. And he's using Yanliang Wenqiu, for example. And let's say he needs to activate the ability of this hidden character right here, Tianfeng. And when he does, he has a special bonus. Now, like I mentioned, his health is 2 units plus 1.5 units, which makes it 3.5. Whenever you have a 0.5 unit in your total health, at the point in time where you flip over your second character card, you can immediately draw one card from the deck. Okay, this only applies if your total health has a 0.5 behind. It can either be 3.5 or 4.5. Okay, yes, it is possible to have 4.5. Okay, so that's the bonus you have if you pick two characters that add up to a 0.5 total health. Just a very general stereotype. Usually the more warrior-like characters have 2 units of health. Usually the strategist characters have 1.5 units of health. And characters such as Guan Yu and Lu Bu, for some strange reason, they gave them 2.5 units of health. Maybe because they're very powerful or something like that. Okay?